We're so much more than just our sun sign. That's why I want to have you on today to really break it down because it's so mathematical versus woo woo or out there.
It's an entire system for self-understanding. It is a framework that you can live by. The interesting thing about it is, yes, everybody knows their sun sign, or at least that's how everyone's introduced to astrology. But what happens is that these signs, these zodiac signs, are archetypal energies that we all carry somewhere in our chart. And there's 12 zodiac signs, and then there's 12 houses or 12 sections in your astrology chart. So every single one of us carries every single sign somewhere in our astrology chart. And ultimately, that moves you into self-acceptance, which is huge, because when we can accept that, oh, it's not personal, it's planetary, like this is how I'm designed, then we can just drop all of the, I should be doing this, I'm supposed to be, we just drop it all, and you just step more into alignment with who you really are, why you're here, what you're here to learn, and really come from a place of feeling soul empowered.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Michelle Chalfant Show. I am so excited today to have Monica Lorraine on the show, and we are talking and breaking down astrology. You are so much more than your sun sign, and when you can understand a little bit more about your astrology chart, which she goes into very deep today, we go deep into astrology charts. You're going to understand the power of understanding what your chart is all about. So I cannot wait for you to hear this show today. I just want to remind you, we are starting the 30-day journaling challenge absolutely free November 1st. So if you're listening to this even a couple days later, you can still join. Just go to theadultchair.com/journal and you can join us. We have thousands of people that show up and sign up every single year. There's a collective consciousness all around deep transformation, growth, and so many things happen for people when they do this challenge throughout the month of November. This is our 8th year doing it. So make sure you sign up. It is theadultchair.com/journal. And I will see you there right in the collective consciousness of the 30-day journaling challenge. Here we go with Monica Lorraine. Welcome to the Michelle Chalfant Show. Monica Lorraine.
Here I am.
Otherwise known as, I fondly call you, Molo.
Molo.
And my husband too.
I told Hector, he's like, I love that for you.
No. Are we the only ones that call you Molo?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's so special.
Around my house, we definitely call you Molo. So it's very cute.
I love it.
We're so glad to have you. So glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
So you are a astrology and human design extraordinaire, someone that really, and I know because I've worked with you several times, you know this stuff backwards and forwards. So
I do.
Today, I want to focus more on the astrology aspect, and only because, again, many people have misconceptions about astrology. They don't understand. They think it's woo woo. And I mean, I've studied astrology not nearly as long as you and not as in depth as you by any means. But what I have learned so much about astrology is we're more than our sun. We're so much more than just our sun sign.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when people say like, oh, like for me, I'll say I'm a Scorpio, but it's like, I'm almost more, Scorpio's great. I love being a Scorpio, but knowing about the rest of your chart. And I realize even talking with people, they don't even know that we have a chart and what that means. So that's why I want to have you on today to really break it down because it's so mathematical versus woo-woo or out there. It's actually extremely grounded and it's so helpful, not only for our personal lives, but our professional lives, every aspect of life, our moods, emotions, relationships. So is there anything you want to add to that when it comes to astrology? Because I know, like, gosh, I could go on and on about it, but you're the expert.
Astrology, the reason I love it so much, well, obviously I use it in my coaching with my clients as well. But one of the things that is so helpful about it is it's truly it's an entire system for self-understanding. It is a framework that you can live by you can study it for the rest of your life and still get into the deeper nuances of your personality, of your soul path. There's so many things that you can learn from your astrology chart. But the interesting thing about it is, yes, everybody knows their sun sign, or at least that's how everyone's introduced to astrology, right? I'm an Aries, you're a Scorpio, everybody kind of knows that. But what happens is that we all carry these signs, these zodiac signs are archetypes. They're archetypal energies that we all carry somewhere in our chart. And there's 12 zodiac signs, and then there's 12 houses or 12 sections in your astrology chart. So every single one of us carries every single sign somewhere in our astrology chart. So for example, let's say I'm a sun sign Aries, but my Aries energy, that leadership, that really needing to kind of go first with things and take the lead, it shows up not necessarily in my career. It shows up in my fourth house. My fourth house is about, all of our fourth house is about home and family and roots. And so it's no wonder that at a very early age, I took the leadership role in my family. I mean, literally, I was like the father, the mother, taking care of the kids. Even with my mom, she comes to me when she needs direction or guidance for something because she trusts my leadership abilities, right? So we all have all of these signs somewhere in our chart. For example, I have Scorpio in my chart, as we all do, but my Scorpio shows up in my 12th house. That means that I'm really good at helping my clients get to the bottom of what's really going on, the things that they can't see, the unconscious patterns, the things that are not spoken, but it's showing up in their life. So we all have this ability to tap into that energy somewhere in our chart. And the 12 houses in your astrology chart literally represent 12 areas of your life. So you can learn about yourself, your personal identity, your relationships, your career, your health, even what you need, for spiritual connection. Like, it's so specific to you that if you did nothing more than just learn about the different parts of your astrology chart, but in an active way, not just like in a tell me what the forecast is or what my future is. It's not like that. I mean, it can tell you some things, but it's more for a deeper self-understanding and self-awareness. And ultimately, that moves you into self-acceptance, which is huge, because when we can accept that, oh, it's not personal, it's planetary, like this is how I'm designed, then we can just drop all of the, I should be doing this, I'm supposed to be, we just drop it all, and you just step more into alignment with who you really are, why you're here, what you're here to learn, and really come from a place of feeling soul empowered and not feeling like, oh my God, something's wrong with me, I'm broken, I need to be fixed. Does that help a bit?
It does, but I realize you're using language that I know a lot of people don't know, so I want you to break it down even more.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I love,
absolutely.
and everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, yes. What people don't realize is oftentimes when we're stuck in life and we can't
Mhm.
move forward, knowing what's going on in your astrology chart is
Right.
so incredibly helpful. Because
Completely.
it's I'm trying to find the word or the phrase that I want to use about knowing what's going on in your astrology chart. It's the book of your soul. It's the book of what's
Yeah. It's your
going
soul
on.
map.
It's your
Yeah. It's
soul
so
map. Yeah.
right.
I just recently, in fact, gave a friend of mine had a baby, and I gave her, it was a whole astrology book of based on
Oh,
her daughter.
yeah.
So let's start there. I not with my friend, but I want people to understand. So I want you to break down what the heck an astrology chart is. And I know you have a visual
Yes.
you might be able to even show us, but I want to really break it down because in order to know even more about who you are. So again,
Mhm.
most people, again, I'm dating myself when I say, look in
Mm.
the newspaper on Sundays, like, what's your astrology? Now, of course,
Right.
everything's online, but like, okay, what's going on with Scorpio if I'm a Scorpio? But again, I know now to look at so much more
Right.
than just Scorpio, knowing what my chart is. So Y and that's just your sun sign would be like, "Oh, I'm
Right.
a Scorpio." But when we know and can put on, put in the input of where I was born, the town
Hmm.
and the state or this or the country, and also
Yeah.
what time I was born, not just your birth
Absolutely.
date. It takes you even deeper. And what comes up when you know these things is what we call your astrology chart. And I've talked to a lot of people that go, "Oh, well, again, I'm a Gemini or I'm a Taurus." I'm like, "But do you know anything about your chart?" And they're like, "What's a chart?"
Right.
So are
Yeah,
you able to
I can
even
pull it up.
break that down? And I know not everyone is on video, but so break it down. So like you said, there's a chart that is so specific to the literal, to the minute that you were born.
Right. Right.
The minute that
Yes.
you were born, you have a very, very, very specific chart. And what that means is that the planets were in a certain place exactly the moment you were born. And that chart is your soul map and it stays with you your entire life.
Absolutely. Can I pull up the visual?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be okay.
Let me give you.
'Cause I think, I mean, if
Oh,
you know, I know
so
most of you will be
hold
listening,
on.
but if you want to watch, I think you'll have it on YouTube as well. They can just get a glimpse of what this looks
Yeah.
like.
Okay. Here you go. So the thing that people want to understand is like, so the planets are always moving, the sun is always moving, the moon is always like everything else is moving, but your specific chart is
Right.
actually static. It never moves. But
Right.
all the other planets and the moon cycle through your chart. And so talk to us about again, especially for people that aren't on video right now, but what a chart is. So there you go. Is this
Yes.
my
So,
chart?
no, it's just
Okay.
it's just a transit chart for the day. I never really share anybody's
You can
chart.
show my chart. I'm fine. I don't care. Okay.
Okay, so you know what? Let me do that really quick. Here you are. You're always close by.
I'm always like,
You're in my favorites. Okay. So here's what happens. I want you guys to imagine that the moment that you were born, that someone went out and took a snapshot of the sky exactly the moment you were born. And we're talking the moment you took your first breath outside of your mom. Okay. It doesn't matter if it was induced, it doesn't matter if you were a day late, it doesn't matter if they did a C-section. The moment that you took that first breath outside of your mom, that is the moment of your birth. And so what happens is, okay, Michelle, you were born November 9th, 1967 at 1:30 p.m. in Rochester, New York. So I go in and I plug that into my little, thing here, my chart creator, and it pulls up this astrology chart. And as I mentioned, it's broken into 12 sections. So just think of it as like a pie, okay? And there's 12 pieces of the pie, and it just goes in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 12. Each
and,
one. Go
and
ahead.
for people that aren't looking at this, I just want to say it's in a circle. So it's circular. And again,
Yeah.
it looks like a pie and there are 12 pieces. So keep going.
Imagine a pizza.
Yeah, that's perfect. Imagine a pizza pie. Yeah.
And
There
here's
are
12
slices.
12
12
slices.
slices to the pie.
And each
Okay.
one of these slices represents a specific area of your life. So without getting into all 12, I'll just give you 4. For example, the first house, or the house is also the slice of pizza. The first slice of pizza, first house, is going to be the house of you, your personal identity, who you are as an individual. This is not who you are in relationships or in your career. This is literally you. It talks about you, your personality, how other people perceive you, how they receive your energy, and even their first impression of you. So when people meet you, even though you're a Scorpio or whatever sign you could be, it doesn't mean that that's not necessarily the energy that they're going to pick up on. They're going to pick up on whatever the archetype, the energy is that's in your first house. So that's the house of self, personal identity. Fourth house is who you are at home. This is your inner world. It's about your roots, your family, where you come from. It's the first 7 years of your life and what created your inner emotional foundation, which is super helpful if you're ever doing any inner child work or you're ever doing any healing work around family patterns or cycle breaking, things like that. The fourth house is going to give us a lot of information about and very specific information about what you need to be working on there and why you even need to work on it. And the seventh house over here, the seventh piece of pie is, or piece of slice of pizza, is going to be about how you are in relationships. Relationships are it's our opportunity for people in our lives to mirror certain things about us. Sometimes they're mirroring things that we love about ourselves. Sometimes they're mirroring things we don't like about ourselves or we maybe want to change. Sometimes it's mirroring our own potential. You know, if you've ever had a moment where you think like, oh, why am I not further along? Or look what that other person's able to accomplish in life. Well, what they're doing is they're mirroring back to you your own potential that maybe is unrealized. You haven't tapped into it yet. So really the seventh house is not just about romantic relationships. It's about who you are and how you are and how you show up in relationships, the types of people you bring in, the patterns that show up in your relationships, and most importantly, what others are mirroring back to you so that you can really understand yourself from another person's perspective as well. Because remember, the first area of your chart is just about you. You're not seeing anything about other people. The seventh house helps you to see yourself in others and helps you to see yourself in others. So I like to say the seventh house is responsible for most of the triggers that we have in relationships. So there's a whole lot. And then the 10th house, or the 10th slice of pizza, is about your, most people will say it's about your career. It's about the work you do in the world. It's possibly what you're known for, your reputation, what you want to be known for. I like to say, because I practice more spiritual astrology, I like to say that this is the area that has more to do with your unique contribution, your highest level of contribution that you're here to offer others if you choose to. This is like the contract your soul made with the universe. Like, listen, I'm gonna figure this piece out, and then I'm gonna contribute this to others. And it doesn't always need to look like a career or a business. Sometimes it could literally just be, you know, a hobby, or just some way of creatively expressing yourself, or you could be an artist and your art is contributing, even if you never sold a painting. So it really is your unique contribution to help others in this world. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great.
So you mentioned how the birth chart never changes. So this is based, again, on the time that you were born. This is like your thumbprint. Okay? It's not going to change. Now, what happens is when people say, you'll hear people say, or like you said, Michelle, look at Sunday and read the horoscope. And I used to do that too. So what they're doing is they're talking more about collective energy. When I mean collective, that means all of us. So we all have our own individual chart. But when we look at collectively what's going on for everyone, right? And this is where it gets more personal. This has to do with personal timing. Because when you have personal timing, now what we do is we pull up a second chart, and that second chart is called a transit chart. And all it means is literally we put another chart over your chart. So now you have two wheels or two charts here. And what happens is that if I start moving the dates on that chart, it starts to tell me what areas of which houses or which slices of the pizza are going to be activated on any given day. I could go backwards, I could go forwards, I could go a week out, a month out. This is why a lot of my clients, because a lot of my clients are also entrepreneurs, they'll reach out to me because maybe they're planning their year for 2026 or whatever the year is, and they want to plan their personal and professional life, throughout the year, where they want to align with the energies. They don't want to be pushing against things. So if they're ready to launch something or do something big, and it happens to be at a time where the planets are in an area of their life that is pulling them inward and wanting them to practice self-care and release and reset and, recharge their batteries, well, what's going to happen is they're still going to show up to do the thing, but they're not going to have the level of energy that they would have, or even the capacity, had they followed at least kind of where the energy was already activated for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure.
We've done this with you as well.
I love that.
How helpful has that been for you?
Oh my God.
With the business.
This is why I wanted to have you on. I was like, yeah, like everyone needs to understand their astrology chart. Again, I don't know it to your level by any means. And I'm not drawn to even knowing it to your level.
Most people won't.
Mm-hmm. But to work with someone like you that is able to show me and help me understand, like, hey, I remember you said to me, hey, over the summer in your relationships, they might be, I don't remember your words. Like, there's going to be a lot coming up for you in your relationships.
It might get a little tricky.
It's going to be tricky. I think you said specifically with Graham, my husband's. And I was like, oh, whatever, and I think I'd made it through like the first 2 months. I'm like, yeah, I don't notice anything. And then the third month, I was like, what the heck? What is going on? And you said, I told you so. And I said, wow. And it wasn't that it was bad. It was just all this stuff that needed to be talked about, worked through, old triggers. It was like all this stuff just came bubbling up in like the course in just a month. And then after that month was over, bloop, it was done.
Yeah, but did it not clear? It cleared some energy, right?
Cleared it
Absolutely.
out. And again, I wasn't looking for it because you told me, but what's so wild is, again, This to me is mathematical and scientific. And if you think about it, they can clock and tell when down to the minute when the tides are coming up. When's the full moon? When's the new
Right.
moon? When's the
Right.
waxing moon? When's the waning moon? They know when the planets are coming and where they're going to be. That's all mathematical. Like it's just
Yeah.
plotted. It's scientific. It's science. So it's like now what you're able to do as an astrologer is just interpret that and what all of those
Yes.
planets mean. I know from having a private practice for so many years, it was wild to me how around the full moon, people would be, first of all, it's even in probably Cosmo, they just talk about all the babies that are born around the full moon. But
Yeah.
people are more emotional. I don't sleep well when it's full moon. And I don't even all the time know when the full moon is, but I'll notice, why am I not sleeping? And I'll look when the full moon is. I'm like, oh, it's a full moon. And I don't even know. So I don't think it's a placebo effect, like I'm looking for it. So there's to me, an astrology chart and understanding what's happening is empowering.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And again, when I do talk with my clients, about what's coming up for them, it's never like this doom and gloom. What the purpose for it is, and I always tell them, if you know what the weather report's going to be, or there's a chance of rain or storm, or like, don't go outside in your shorts and flip flops. Just be aware that it's probably going to rain that day. So or that month, right?
Bring
And
an
so
umbrella.
bring an umbrella. That's it. And if it's clear skies, no problem. But here,
Yep.
and for you, it was clear skies for about 2 months while that planet was traveling through that area of your chart for 3 months, right? The first 2, you breezed through.
Yep.
The third month, you're like, what the hell's going on?
Exactly. I was like, what the?
But
Everything Graham said was triggering to me. I was triggering him. I'm like, what is going on?
yes,
But that was because I don't remember what planet it was, but
it
it was
was
going.
Mars. It was
I was going to
Mars.
say, I'm wondering if it was Mars because
It
that
was
planet
Mars.
tends to kick things up, but was going through my relationship house. And it just made so much sense. And since then, it's like, whoop, smooth sailing again. I'm like, this is so wild.
As Mars and with all the planets, they all have their own job to do, right? They activate certain things, and Mars tends to kick up whatever area it's in. It tends to kick up something that needs to be confronted so that it can be cleared out. Now, it doesn't need to be confrontational. However, if you're not aware of it, you may be confrontational, or the other person might be really confrontational to you. It's just like this energy of like this, I have to just address this head on. But once it is, it's like it clears the decks. It allows conversations to be had or things to be changed or whatever it is, and then you're able to move forward. So none of these transiting planets move, which just means they're moving around your chart. None of them are designed to cause problems or to, there's no such thing as a bad chart or even a bad transit. But if there's something going on in that area of your life, right, in one of those 12 areas, and it's not serving you somehow, or you're stuck in some kind of pattern or a rut or a behavior that is, where you're slowing things down for yourself, the planet's going to come through and it's going to activate that energy. It doesn't do anything to you. It activates what's already going on, but a lot of times it'll magnify it so that you notice it, right? So when you
Yeah.
notice it, then you become aware, and when awareness precedes change. Once you become aware of what's going on, now you have a choice to change it. So that's why I say this is a full framework, a full system for self-understanding. And it's not just about understanding yourself, because once you start to understand your own chart, the people who are closest to you, your children, your partner, your partner in business, whatever it is, like you start to see like, okay, they have their own chart as well. And technically it's not really personal. It's planetary. There's probably something going on with them. And I'm over here getting triggered and getting upset and realizing, wait a minute, they're going through what I went through 3 months ago. Like it
Right.
kind of allows us just to let everybody just kind of be.
It's so true because I know that Graham has had a few sessions with you. And I remember when you said, oh, yeah, on July something, whatever it was near his birthday in July, you said he's moving in. I think it was into his first house and it was all about him or the house of
a new start. But first it was about releasing, surrendering, letting things go. Yeah.
His summer was so rocky and he was like,
Ah.
oh, like it was so much going on for him and it was psychological. And because I knew what he was going through,
Right.
I took hardly anything. I didn't take anything personally. And I'd say to him, I know you're going through this. Like all of this stuff on the inside is being kicked up and out. It was psychological. It was reevaluating his whole life. It was all this stuff was coming up for him. And I was so empathetic because I knew what was going on. And I was
Yes.
just able to witness him over and over. And it took, when he was in a mood, I was like, ah, everything's in his first house. So he's
Yeah.
okay. He'll be out of it by September 8th or whatever it was. And he was.
Yeah. It's
So,
amazing. Like you really see it happen in real time. I mean, after you've been working with your chart actively for a little while, you're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this stuff's really happening. Again, it's not about predicting. It's the
no,
what
no.
what is the psychological what is the astrological weather report going to be
Yes.
for the next 3 months or 6 months or the next 12 months? And let me dress accordingly. That's it. And let me go back and listen to my recording or write some of these dates down so that when it shows up, I don't, come all unglued. Like, let me just remember, like, oh, that's right. She said I was going to be working through this, or things with my mom are going to show up and I need to heal it, or my abandonment issues, or whatever the triggers are, that whatever the things are that our soul came here to heal. And that's what I love about this chart. I mean, I love human design as well, but I started with astrology in 2006, and then I was introduced to human design in 2014. So I've been with these charts for a
Mm,
long time. But I will tell you that the astrology chart is literally your psychological and emotional wiring. It's how you're psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually wired. So when you
mm,
start to understand yourself from that perspective and what you really need to be emotionally fulfilled, what do you really need in terms of a communication, a style of communication with a partner? What do you really need to be fulfilled in your career? What did your soul come here to offer as a contribution? When you start to understand these very specific things, it's no longer about checking the horoscope to see what's happening on Tuesday of next week. It's about how can I live the highest frequency of what I'm already here to do and who I'm here to be? And how can I stop doing what everybody thinks I should be doing or being who everybody thinks I should be? How can I allow a lot of the conditioning to fall away and really step into the authenticity of who I really am and show up from there? And it really does help you to realign your life so that things run smoother. You stop creating so much resistance to the
mm,
things that you desire in your life because
mm,
of this level of self-understanding.
mm.
Does that help?
Oh my gosh, yes. You think about people that struggle with patterns that keep coming up over and over
Yes.
and over and over
Yes.
again. Again, the word that continues to come up for me is empowering. Like that when I understand what's going on in my chart, I'm like, oh, that's why that's there. It's to help me. The astrology chart points it out for me. So then
Right.
I know what I'm here to overcome or will know what I'm here to move through kind of thing. Can you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, yeah. It takes away all the guesswork. Like,
Yeah.
I was so deep into personal development and healing for years before I came across astrology.
Yeah.
And like I said in one of my what I don't know, something I was writing the other day, I said, when I had my first astrology session, I was blown away. I was completely blown away because it had taken all the years of personal development and the conferences I went to and the books I read and the therapy I did. It took all of that, and it literally, like, in one session, I understood all these things that I had
Mm,
been trying to move through, work through, heal through for probably more than a decade prior to getting introduced to astrology, more than my sun sign. I was always
mm,
interested in my sun sign.
mhm.
And I joke because I say I came to astrology through because my relationships were so messed up. Right?
Mm,
That's how I got into astrology. It was like,
yeah.
oh my God. I wasn't even thinking about purpose at the time. I was like, I pretty much dated almost the entire zodiac and I'm still having trouble and I don't know who's left. And so it was from a very practical standpoint. And then when I left, I realized like, oh, I didn't realize that I had about 4 or 5 planets in my seventh house of relationships. And guess what that
Mm,
meant? That meant that I was going to learn and grow through the relationships. I had a pattern of losing my identity in relationships. It was
mm,
not to get too woo-woo, but it was also a past life pattern. I did
yeah.
many, many lifetimes. And so what would happen is I would mistake caring or, for caretaking, right? And so I would end up
Wow.
becoming the caretaker. I would lose my identity in relationships. I would choose partners who could never ever provide the emotional connection that I was really looking for. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what? Something must be wrong with me because this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I understood it through the lens of these are my patterns, these are my energetic patterns, so that I can start to work through them and get on the other side of them, everything started to change after that. Then I found out about my purpose, about, you know, my best career. I was told in 2006 that most likely I was going to end up helping a lot of women, and that one day I would be speaking on stages and helping them have transformation. I was probably going to be using the chart, and here I am. Right? I'm 51 years old now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've already done that. Now I'm doing it online, right?
Yeah.
So when you want to understand your patterns, if you don't want to get stuck, and again, therapy has, you know, it's amazing, and all the modalities out there are great. But when you want to really understand what are my specific patterns, why
Mhm.
do I keep tripping over this? All we do is take a look at your chart, and I will identify it within most likely 3 minutes. And not just one. I'm gonna see about 3 or 4 patterns and how they're all kind of connecting with one another. And I'll tell you, I have an idea that this is how it's showing up in your life. And you're gonna be like, how do you
Mm.
know that? Like, how do you know? Right? Because that's kind of how the energy is gonna play out. And here's the area where it's gonna show up. So you really take all the guesswork out. If you want to know why do I have codependent patterns? Why do I, you know, why am I afraid of abandonment? Why do I feel like I never have enough money or resources no matter how much I make? You know, if you want to understand the why so that you can get on the other side of it, because we're humans, we want to know why. We just have this need to understand why. It's what I always tell my clients, this is why this is important. If the
Mm.
why something's important, you're going to
Yeah.
be less resistant to moving through it. So
So
why is it important to understand your patterns? Because if you understand what they are, you're going to stop going around thinking you need to heal all kinds of things and fix all kinds of things. All you need to do is become aware what these specific patterns are, why they're here, what you're supposed to be learning from it, and how to get on the other side of it. And that is extremely empowering. Long before I was soul aligned, which is my business, soul aligned solutions, I was soul empowered for years. And
Mm.
then I switched it because the word empowered was just oversaturated. So I said, you know what, this is I'm helping people move more into into an alignment with themselves. And what happens when we're out of alignment? Well, we create resistance in our life. We create resistance in our health, in our career, in our relationships. So how amazing would that be if we just could start to remove the resistance instead of trying to fix ourselves and thinking that something's wrong with us? There's just something we don't understand about ourselves. And when you have the fundamental, you know, when you have the framework and you have the specifics of your chart, it's not difficult after that. You really can start to work with the energy.
Yeah, I love that. You made a good point, and I want you to take the chart down so I can see it
Yeah.
better, but not yet.
Oh, okay.
One more question.
Tell me when.
Because another thing that I've talked to so many people about over the years is when they ask like, how do I find my passion and my purpose? Like, what am I here to do? And it's like when you know what's going on in your chart, it's
Yeah.
pretty easy, would you say, to kind of point that person in the right direction? Because you're born with, again,
Right.
planets in a certain house. So which house would that be?
Now this is for which specific question? Which
I'm
part?
just wondering, like, if somebody said, hey, what is my, like, look at my chart, like, what's my passion or what's my purpose in this lifetime from let's say someone that wants to find a career or even like a hobby, like, where is that in
Yeah.
your chart? Like, and everyone has this. It's not unique to me.
Right, right.
Everybody has this.
And there's two well, there's other things that I could look at, but there's something very specific. Let's look at it from a soul perspective. What is the purpose of the soul in this lifetime? And then I'll get into the purpose work, right?
Yeah.
Soul is always going to be represented by this little symbol here that looks like a horseshoe or a headphones. Okay. So this says to me that this soul came here in this lifetime to really master this area of their life, to really major in this area of their life. So for you, for example, it's in the second house or the second slice of pizza, right? And so that tells me that from a soul perspective, you can't, one of your biggest things that you're here to master is self-worth in this
Oh my
lifetime,
God.
right? Is self-worth.
So, yeah.
It's seeing your value,
Yep.
right? It's
Yep.
the second house is also about money and resources. And so literally part of your soul path in this lifetime is to understand literally money, like understand how it works, how to make it, how to save it, how to multiply it, all the things, because in previous lifetime, you didn't have to do that. You were well taken care of, but you didn't understand how to do it yourself, right? So if the person decided to take it away, you were in a real bad situation. And so the soul says, oh, this lifetime, I'm going to master the material world, because last lifetime I mastered the metaphysical world. Right?
Interesting.
And then you come
Yeah.
to this life, and the deal is that you bring both. You bring the gifts from the past life, you bring the destiny from this lifetime, which is the second house, the material world, right? So now you bring the spiritual and the material, and you bring them and create the balance, which I think you're doing an amazing job.
So accurate. I've spent most of my life working on my own self-worth, and now I teach self-worth.
Right.
So accurate. And the same with money. I'm continuing to learn so much about money and the energetics of money and quantum jumping, all of the things.
Yes.
It's been a really fun, not always, but now it's becoming more and more fun.
Yeah.
But I do. And it's interesting because you said it's something that I'm here to do on my own.
Right.
And it's interesting because, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go off on my own stuff, but it's just interesting that you say that, because I'm like, I would like to do this, and I would like to do that, and I would like to build a company, and and versus my husband and I, like, and I just don't feel that he and I are meant to do that in this lifetime. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I have no problem with it, but is something about, I'm going to do it all alone, and I want to do it alone. So it's fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean like you can't have partners with certain things, or you can't have joint ventures, things like that. But there still has to be a part of it that you are doing, right? That you are creating. So it doesn't mean you can't do that with other people. It just means that can't be the whole, like, the complete way that you do it. Because
so what is that headphone thing called?
That is called your North Node, Node, North Node, which tells you what you're here to major in and master in this lifetime. This is like the maximum soul growth place.
And everyone has a North Node.
Everyone has a North Node.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Everyone has a North Node in a certain sign, and everybody has a North Node in a certain house or a slice of the pizza. And that is what makes it specific for you. Now, if we go, now that could also be part of your purpose work, right? Have you not helped so many people around self-worth?
I love it. Yeah.
So it can tie in. It doesn't have to, but most of the time it'll tie into what your contribution you're here to offer others. Why? Because it's a path that you had to walk yourself, so you know it well, right? Now, if I'm looking at someone's chart and they say, okay, what's my contribution that I'm here to offer others? Like, what is something that I can do for pay or not? It doesn't matter. What is something I could do from a soul perspective to contribute? Now I'm going to go look at very specific areas in a person's chart. So for example, for you, I would look at the 10th house sign, which is the, contribution area, right? What am I here to contribute? That is, you have the sign of Sagittarius there. So Sagittarius, without getting too astrological here, every sign has a planet that belongs to it, right? So there's a sign and the planet that belongs to it. So the planet that belongs to Sagittarius is the planet Jupiter. So Sagittarius is a sign, Jupiter is the planet. So now I go find the planet Jupiter in your chart. It looks like a little 4 right here. And this 4 is in the sign of Virgo in your 7th house. So now I know that there's something here that you were here to help people do. And Virgo is all about improving the process of something, or improving a system, or improving the way to do something. And you, prior to this, did therapy and coaching, right? Did you not end up creating the adult chair framework method to help
the coaching program and the membership and all the things
to help people improve the way that they were healing? So you have already offered your contribution, and you can continue to have different iterations of it. But I'll give you an example right now. Hector, my boyfriend, I think he's halfway through the book now. And oh my gosh, like every other day he's sending me like highlight, because he's out of town right now. He's sending me highlights. And
you're talking about the adult chair book.
Yeah. And he's sending me screenshots and highlights, and he's showing me this stuff, from the book. And his like mind is blown. And he's like, oh my gosh, like this is why I did these things. This is why I behaved this way. This is why I had to go through that experience. Like he's understanding himself so well because of that. So you did with that particular thing and a few other things you're doing, you've already accomplished this contribution and you're going to continue to contribute. So I'm able to see this in everybody's chart. And it doesn't
I
mean
love it.
it doesn't mean everyone has to write a book or have a, huge business or anything. Sometimes it could just be the way you show up for others, but it is in there. Your soul already has all the questions you have are already here. You just need somebody to decode it for you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
You could take it down. Yeah, we're done, I think, with the chart for now. But thank you. That was so helpful. And if anyone wants to see, just jump on YouTube and check out the chart. Again, I just love, I mean, we all have a chart. It's your unique soul blueprint, and the right person can help you to really interpret what the heck is going on in your life, what some of the bigger things that are coming up for you. Again, whether it's in 50 years or in 10 years or in a month or a week or a day, because you can just tune in. You're not tuning in. You're looking at where the planets are and how it aligns with your chart.
Right.
But
And I would say there's
it's so not woo woo.
no, and I would say there's three reasons typically why women usually come, and some men, right? Most of my clients are women, will usually book a session with me or, want to talk to me about their chart. It's usually because either they want to know their purpose, right? Like, what's my purpose? Like, what does it all mean? A lot of times when they get like to about age 40 and up, they're really like, okay, what am I really here to do? And am I even doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Or is there something more? I feel like there's something more. They really want to understand, like, who am I? What did I really come here for? Because there's almost this thing about like, I don't want to miss my mission, right? I don't want to miss my purpose, like my contribution. I want to make sure that I at least try to do it, right? So that's one of the reasons they'll come. The second one, relationships. I mean, who does not want to understand their relationship better? Whether it's your own patterns, a person in your life, your husband, your children, like, I do something called relationship insights, and I really, really give them the insights into them and their partner or whoever the other chart is to help them understand, because that's going to create more connection. That's going to create less resistance, right? Better communication and not taking things so personally. That is huge. Like, less triggers. Let's do it. Right. And then,
Absolutely.
and then the third thing would be personal timing or personal or business. They want to know, like, what does the next 3 months look like for me? What about the next 6 months? What should I be focusing on in my personal life or my business? Where should I be putting my time, energy, and, resources so that I'm not just wasting time, right? This is not about setting new goals for the new year and all that. It's about how do I align my energy in the best way possible so that I can have an even better year than I had last year. Right? So, so every year I do these new year, new energy sessions, right? And I open up a few spots for that. And a lot of times it's repeat clients because they're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this the past 5 years and it's been so helpful. And we do get to see what's coming up for you in the next 12 months and then really kind of, go from there in terms of what you need. So
I know. I just did that with you, and it was so powerful. I literally took everything that she said and went into my calendar and plotted it exactly like you said. You said, this is when you need to be resting. This is when you brainstorm. This is when you do your live events. This is da 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 da. I was like, yep. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you've been so accurate. It's been just such a journey working with you. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
And I do love you were mentioning relationships, because what you've done for me is you'll take my chart. This is cool for people that don't know that you can even do this.
Yeah.
You take my chart and someone that I'm either going to collaborate with in business, and you overlay the charts to see what is that relationship going to be? Is this a beneficial thing? Where are the sticky points? Where might we need to talk through some things? Or even my relationship with Graham, overlay it. It's like you are able to overlay it and say, okay, this is where these issues might come up. This is how it's been, talk a little bit about the power of relationships when it comes to astrology charts.
Absolutely. Every important relationship in your life, no matter how challenging it is or how beautiful it is, every relationship is a soul contract when it's somebody, who you not just meet once, you're in a relationship with them. And what I mean by soul contract is that they literally are contracted to bring you certain gifts right? And you are for them as well. And sometimes some of those gifts are not packaged so nicely, right? They might really trigger you. They might really, the gift might show up in, let's say you, I don't know, have an abandonment wound, and then you get together with somebody who loves you dearly, but like maybe they're super avoidant, and it's like, I constantly feel abandoned in my relationship. Like, what is wrong? But a lot of times, and this is how I got into astrology, I was trying to figure out how to fix other people so that I could have better relationships. What I realized is that it's actually not that. It's about, okay, let's say, I say the abandonment wound because that comes up a lot. Let's say that one of the things that soul, the person who has the wound, contracted for themselves in this lifetime was to come into this world and to learn how to create that inner emotional safety and security and stability for themselves and not outsource it to someone else. So what'll happen is that they probably got into a string of relationships, and or maybe their mom was not emotionally there either. Then they go and they get into a couple of relationships, and then they feel emotionally abandoned in those relationships. And then they start thinking, well, what the hell's wrong with me? Maybe even go into a depression over it.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, oh, wait a minute. I actually came into this lifetime to learn how to source this from within. I actually came here to learn, how do I get to a place where I'm not constantly worried that somebody's going to take their emotional support or away, where I'm not putting my safety and security into someone else. Actually, I'm showing up as my full, whole, and complete self. And the cherry on top is that they're very emotionally supportive towards me. And that I can be very safe around them. See, it flips everything on its head. Everything. If you just, here's how to know one of the wounds that you have, just whoever's listening. Whatever you want your partner to do more of for you so that you can feel better, I promise you there's a 99% chance that that wound's going to show up in your chart. I could find it within 3 seconds, because it, even if it is feeling like a person feeling like they're never going to have a good relationship, right? They're not, it's not in the stars for me this lifetime. I don't know. I used to think, like, what did I kill in a past life? My relationship sucked, like I really felt that way. I'm like, wow, I really created some karma for myself. But then I learned, like I said, I had a habit of losing my identity in my relationships, of being overly compromising, people pleasing. And then I would move into resentment. And then I'd be upset that you didn't change, because look at all that I've done for you. Look at how much I've compromised. And so then I get fed up, because I'm an Aries, and eventually I get fed up, and then I just burn the bridge and leave, go find another relationship, and guess what happened again?
Same thing.
Same thing. I told you I dated almost the entire zodiac before I found astrology, like really understood my chart. So with that being said, when it's relationships, it becomes less about how do I get them to change, which is funny because most people will book a session with me so they can understand their partner, so that we can get the partner to behave,
to change. Yeah. No.
Find out, oh, by the way, this is how you trigger your partner also. And this is the gift you're here to bring them. And this is why, they want you to do X, Y, Z. But in reality, their chart is set up for you to not give it to them. Because if you give it to them, if you provide it for them, now this is not a conscious thing, but if you provide to them the thing that they need to heal most, how is the healing going to happen? They're just going to keep coming back and doing it again, right?
Totally.
And so the more we understand this, it gives us a language, it gives us an understanding, it gives us the ability to communicate, to understand what our partner or our child or our sibling or whoever, what they need. And from there, I think that it creates much more intimacy, it creates much more connection. Like I said, better communication. And most importantly, you stop waiting for that person to give you the thing that you're here to give yourself.
It's so powerful.
And that is empowering all in itself.
So powerful. I love this so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that this information empowers some people out there that are listening. And because some people are like, oh no, astrology scares me. I'm like, there's nothing to be scared of. It literally is something that is so grounded. It is so scientific and mathematical. And to have someone be able to interpret a chart, your chart is, it's like, I love that. It is, I don't even have words other than, what's the other word for empowered? It's just, it brings you clarity and hope. And It's like when you feel so stuck, it creates clarity for you. So
Yeah,
anyway,
definitely. Can
so
I
you,
ask about
yeah,
that real quick about the collective energies that are
yeah.
coming up?
I do want to ask you just quickly if you would just have a few highlights
Yeah.
to what's coming up for us, like in the year 2026. Any high level highlights?
Yes, yes. So there's plenty, but let me just talk about one particular planet. So when I say collective energies, now I'm saying, okay, there's a planet called Jupiter, and right now it's in the sign of Cancer. And so we've all collectively, meaning all of us, have been experiencing this energy since the summer of 2025 of having Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. So what does that mean in English? It means that Jupiter likes to magnify and expand whatever it touches. Okay, because it wants to bring you an opportunity it wants to leave you better off than when it showed up. Okay. And in Cancer is all about our emotions, our inner world, our relationship with our mothers, with our families. It's that thing I was talking about, that sourcing that inner emotional security, safety, and stability, but not outsourcing it to other people, like learning how to do it for ourselves. And a lot of times that requires that we kind of have to go into some of the things probably from childhood, because that's where the foundation started. That's where the blueprint was set. So Jupiter has been moving through the sign of Cancer somewhere in your chart. Wherever you have the sign of Cancer in your chart, that's where it's been, the area it's been working on. So it's going to be different for all of us, very specific. Well, that's going to be going on until the middle of 2026. It's going to continue. Jupiter takes 12 months to move through a sign before it moves on. But in the summer of 2026, it's going to move out of Jupiter's going to move out of Cancer. It's going to move into the sign of Leo. So all of us who've been dealing for 12 months with our emotions and healing and all that stuff, now it's going to move into this sign of Leo. And Leo is all about your creativity. It's about showing up. It's about starting something new, coming up with, whatever new idea or creative idea that you have. It might be starting a business. It might be doing something creative that you've always wanted to do. And you just, for whatever reason, you were outsourcing because now it's going to be about where we outsource our need for approval,
Ooh, that's good.
our need for validation, our need for acceptance and recognition. Okay. And love. So now so wherever you have this Jupiter in the sign of Leo in your birth chart, now it's going to say, okay, over the next 12 months, so from summer of 2026 to summer of 2027 for 12 months, where are you outsourcing these things? Last time you were outsourcing your emotional inner security, where are you outsourcing your need for approval, acceptance, recognition, love? Where? Because that's going to show up
That's
for
going to
you,
be good.
and you're going to be pushed into working through it. Now, you don't have to. You can dig your heels in and not do anything with it, but then you're going to be receiving the not so pleasant energy around that. It's eventually going to bother you enough that you'll probably do something about it. And just remember what I'm saying today. It's an opportunity, because it won't come back for 12 years. This is the time for you to work through that, to really get on the other side. It won't be back for 12 years. So definitely 1000%, like, figure out where that's happening for you in your chart and ride that wave. Like, do not resist it. You're going to have so many blessings in that area if you flow with it.
Ooh, thank you.
It's going to be good.
I remember you saying something about 2025 to 2026 was going to be a lot of triggering. So I know that that's what, because of the planet Jupiter,
Right.
woo, like
yeah.
such a giant planet, and it casts so much light on all of our stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've done an
Thank you.
abundant amount of deep work with my clients in the past 6 months, like deeper than it's been in a long time. Why? Because everybody's stuff was coming up and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's it. I need to heal this once and for all. I need to work through it. I need to let it go. I'm ready.
I love that we're ending here, because so many of us are realizing, like, why am I being triggered again? Why is this bubbling up? Isn't this old? Haven't I worked through this? I hear this all the time. It's like, thanks to, and here's the thing though. We might have worked through it, but did we get to the root? And Jupiter helps us to really excavate and get it all out.
Yeah.
Because once we clear out our old stuff, our old wounding, our old limiting beliefs, there's
Right.
room for more light. And that's what it's doing for us. So it's actually a good thing. So remember, everyone, what do we say here about triggers? Triggers are a gift. And this is why it helps us to see what's going on in the unconscious mind, all those wounds. So Look at
Right.
them. Monica Lorraine. Okay, this has been amazing. I want to let everyone know she is giving anyone that is interested a 20-minute soul map clarity session. And you can check that out at soulaligned.net/Michelle-20. I will put that in the show notes because I know it's a mouthful. Let me say it again. soulaligned.net/Michelle-20. Again, going in the show notes. But thank you so much. This was
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's a complimentary call, and that's a special link for Michelle for her listeners. So definitely just go ahead and sign up through there if you want more personalized information about your chart. I'd love to take a look at it, pull it up just like I did today, and you'll be able to see what I'm looking at. You'll be able to see your chart, and you'll also get a copy of it.
Ooh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much for being here. We love you so much.
Anytime. Anytime. Thank you.